been knocked down. 23 million people can't find full-time work. And we borrow $4 billion every single day, much of it from China. When someone doesn't get the job done, you gotta hold them accountable. Obama's second term would be a rerun of the first, and our country just couldn't survive that. We need someone who could turn it around fast, and that man is Mitt Romney. There's not much time left, and the future of our country is at stake.
He's back, the unmistakable voice of Clint Eastwood, minus his empty chair, doing his bit for Mitt Romney in a new ad. Does it help or hurt the candidate? It's Battleground America. And joining me now, my political all-stars, New York Times columnist Charles Blow, Van Jones, the president and co-founder of Rebuild the Dream, and Katie Pavlich, news editor of townhall.com. Welcome to all of you.
Glad to be here.
I am confused about Clint Eastwood. Let me start with you, Katie. I can't work out, for the love of God, whose side he's on, because I remember watching the Super Bowl, and halfway through it, up pops Clint Eastwood doing a Chrysler ad in which he appeared to be endorsing Barack Obama's bailout of the auto industry. Now he's popping up with empty chairs and new ads attacking Obama, apparently supporting Mitt Romney. I am confused of New York.
You shouldn't be confused, yeah, considering he made his appearance at the RNC convention, gave a very, memorable speech with his empty chair speech, the New Yorker.
Well, memorable is one word to call it. I thought it was completely barking.
Well, that's funny, considering the New Yorker ran their entire front page image based on Clint Eastwood's empty chair speech right after the first debate. That's something that people remembered. And Clint
I think they were joking, weren't they?
Well, the point is, it was memorable, right? And it made they made a point.
Memorably awful. I love Clint Eastwood, so I'm in a difficult position with him. So you're convinced he's a whole, fully fledged Romney man, are you? I mean, despite his, it seems strange to me that it seems strange to me. As I said to Jack Welch, it could be the great irony that Mitt Romney ends up losing places like Ohio, which cost him the election, all because of one op-ed piece in the New York Times saying Detroit should go bankrupt. And there's Clint Eastwood in a commercial today. And he was the guy in the Super Bowl halftime ad who said the bailout was a great idea. Well done, Barack.
Well, Clint Eastwood is making one point here, and he says that the middle class in America has not been successful in the past 4 years. And if you take Joe Biden's term that the middle class has been buried, I think Clint Eastwood agrees with the vice president on that. Maybe he does support the bailout. He hasn't openly expressed that, but he's supporting Mitt Romney, and for good reason, based on the economic numbers.
I can see my other guest bristling here with fury. So let me start with you, Charles. Your reaction to this?
Bristling with fury?
You look like you're always very calm about it, and you boil over. I like it. What do you make of Clint Eastwood and his apparent flip-flopping?
Well, I think it's probably a rehabilitation for Clint Eastwood as much as it is an endorsement of Mitt Romney. He's actually pretty good when he has a script. It was just that RNC
I think he
thing
should just
flopped.
keep out of this. He's one of the great movie stars of the world, self-imploding in all this political stuff, isn't he?
I don't see, you're right. You know more Hollywood than I do. I don't see how it helps him in the long run as a Hollywood actor, and I really don't even see how it helps Mitt Romney. Maybe there's a way they're focus grouping and figuring out that there's some small group. They do micro-targeting with a lot of advertising, and maybe some micro-targeting focus group says that this works. I don't know, but Clint Eastwood did Mitt Romney a lot of harm before this ad.
Van Jones, Clint Eastwood, there he is all over the TV again, and as I say, it's a rather confusing message to the electorate, because it could be that the whole bailout of the auto industry becomes the key determining factor in the election. If Obama scrapes home in Ohio because people in Ohio think, you know what, our unemployment rate's a bit lower than it is nationally because of the bailout, and that all comes down to that split with Romney over what he wrote in the New York Times, then Clint Eastwood's the guy who told everybody in the Super Bowl the bailout was a great idea.
Well, I just think this has got to be just a terrible day for Romney. Look at today. Today is the Republican Party just kind of going off the rails. You got Mr. Empty Chair making his big debut. You've got Donald Trump coming back out with his sort of birtherism 2.0 remix. Sarah Palin comes out and says the president is shucking and jiving, wink, wink, nod, nod. And then you have Murdoch come out and confirms that there's a big strain inside the Republican Party that apparently thinks the government should force women to bear the children of their rapists. So the Republican Party has a brand problem already. I'm sure Mitt Romney was hoping he could be able to kind of keep pointing to his phony 5-point plan, But at this point, it's coming apart, and the true character of some of the extreme elements in this party and just some of the wacky elements of this party are rushing to the fore. It is not good timing for Mitt Romney.
Let's play that Murdoch soundbite to remind everybody exactly what he said.
I struggled with it myself for a long time, but I came to realize life is that gift from God, and I think even when life begins in that horrible situation of rape, that it is something that God intended to happen.
And Katie Pavlich, why, oh why, do all these Republican wannabe senators come out with this garbage, causing such damage to Mitt Romney? Why don't they just stay away from rape?
First of all,
not mention rape. Just steer clear of it.
He was asked about the question of rape, so he was answering the question, first of all. And second of all, it was a perfectly legitimate pro-life argument that he made. If you listen to that clip, he said, I've struggled with it in the past. It's my personal opinion. I've thought about it a lot. I know there's a lot of people who disagree with me, but I do believe that the broader thing that comes out of a horrific situation is a blessing of a child.
Right, so you'd like Mitt Romney to stand up tomorrow and say that God intends rapes to happen, would you? And
he didn't. That's not what he said. He said rape is horrific, but there are, you know, the blessing of a child and what God intended may come out of it. I mean, he's not saying.
Well, he actually said that women that get impregnated by rapists, it's God's intention.
No, he said
like
the child in the conception.
Am I wrong?
What's the difference?
I don't think we should misquote him. I think his words actually stand up without any interpretation, and I think it's unfair to misquote him. In fact, we should really look at what he's saying. This is not a theological argument that we're having here. We're having an argument about social policy and whether we want to live in a country where the government can force women to bear the children of their rapists. Now, you think that's an extreme position, but it's actually the position of Paul Ryan. You have Paul Ryan with the exact same position. This particular candidate, Mr. Murdoch, is the only person for whom Romney has cut an ad. $5,000 has been given by Paul Ryan personally to this man. This man represents a big strain in the party. My concern, if I'm a voter, if I'm a working mom someplace, if I'm a father like I am, if this is the kind of person that Romney is associating himself with, he's cutting ads for, he's picked Paul Ryan, who has these extreme views, as his running mate, who will he pick to put on the Supreme Court? I do not want to live in a country as a man where a woman can be forced to have the child of her rapist, and the government enforce that. But apparently, Mitt Romney has the opposite view. I think that's bad. I think it's bad social policy. It's not a theological argument.
Okay,
it's social policy.
Let's take a short break. I'll come back, and Charles, we'll come back with your reaction to this because it's an emotive subject. Back now with my all-star panel, Charles Blow, Van Jones and Katie Pavlich. Just to remind ourselves, we left it on Richard Murdoch, the Indiana Republican Senate candidate, who said, I think even when life begins in that horrible situation of rape, that is something that God intended to happen. Charles Blow, I mean, am I misrepresenting him when I said that basically he's saying, look, you know, women who get raped and have babies, it's all God's will?
Right, and I think, you know, there's a part, I mean, this becomes very personal, but I think that the part of me says, that's easy for you to say. He starts that off by saying, I've struggled with this a lot. You think you've struggled with it a lot? Think about the woman who has been raped and now has to make a real decision about whether or not they will carry the child that is without, what will turn into a child to term and give birth to a child. I think that when men start talking about what rape means and what the consequences of rape mean and what God meant by what came from the rape, we are always on shaky ground. And I think we need to back up. I think we need to back up and
men should keep their big noses out of it. A woman gets raped, it's her decision. Katie Pavlich?
I just want to make...
Why is it not a woman's decision in the most appalling circumstance of being raped that she decides without any fear of censure from anybody else in America, she decides what she does?
I personally believe that there should be an exception in the case of rape, but I do want to make the point of it is unfair to classify Republicans who do not believe abortion should be an exception in the case of rape to just call them pro-rape. I mean, they're two completely separate topics. It's not fair to classify them as pro-rape because they don't believe in abortion, even in the case of rape. And I want to say that Richard Murdoch's Democratic opponent helped co-sponsor legislation that defined forcible rape versus rape. So if we're going to talk about this, maybe we should be asking Democrats, too, why they're defining the difference between rape and forcible rape as well.
Van, you're waving your hand furiously. Steam in.
Oh, I think that she makes a fair point. I really think that this is more a question. I don't think that it's fair to say that someone is pro-rape if they're saying that it's a horrible situation. So I don't think that's fair. I think she's right on that. But this is a bigger issue because it goes to the judgment of Romney. Some senators saying something crazy, you can say, well, who cares? Well, another one did it, okay, who cares? But what you're seeing now is a pattern inside the party. Romney has not withdrawn his support for this person. They're running ads right now. The only person whom Romney has cut an ad for is this man, and those ads are running today. It goes to Romney's judgment. And it goes to who will he be as president? What are his sensitivities? Who is he going to care about? Who's he going to put on the Supreme Court? Who's he going to put in positions of power if he's associating himself with people who think this way? Now, he might say, I personally don't think this way, but he certainly seems to be on the side of people who do.
And also, I have to say, what it does is it reminds people that his own position on issues like abortion has changed more dramatically than anybody I can remember. You know, he flip-flops from being pro-choice to pro, as he would put it, pro-life, and then he's changed the criteria for the pro-life, and now he's introduced more exceptions and so on. The picture is very confused. That's why the Democrats love it when these Republican senator candidates do what they do and say what they say.
No, nobody loves this. Nobody, I'm sorry, nobody loves this. This is disgusting. Nobody loves this.
You may say that, but you can't deny the Democrats. We've seen the attack ads coming out already tonight. They do love it politically when a Republican senator candidate makes a stupid, fatuous comment about rape.
I think it's terrifying to people in this country, Democrat and Republican, when people get this close to power and have these kinds of views. And so, maybe somebody takes advantage of it politically, but I think in our hearts people are very afraid of this kind of politics being this close to the
Mitt Romney has explicitly said that he thinks there should be an exception for rape. He's explicitly said that. So just because he's endorsed him or that he has a vice presidential candidate who varies with him on that doesn't mean that's his point of view. He has said on the campaign trail multiple times that he believes there should be an exception for rape.
Katie, I gave you the last word because you were outnumbered tonight, so I thought I'd give you the last word.
Thanks, appreciate it.
We'll speak to you all again very soon.